Did you know diesel engines are more tolerant of high temperatures than petrol engines? But that doesn't mean it is indestructible. In fact, over 85% of drivers end up destroying their diesel engine by making these 5 mistakes. Don't panic. Here in this video, I'll break down the 5 common habits you should avoid and what you should do instead to keep your diesel car running for hundreds of thousands of miles. Stick around till the end because I'll share one bonus habit that could actually double your engine's life. Mistake number 1, don't top off the coolant with plain water. Topping off your coolant with plain water might seem like a quick fix, but it's a mistake that can quietly ruin your diesel engine over time. Here's why. Your engine's cooling system is designed to work with a specific mixture, usually a 50-50 blend of water and ethylene glycol, also known as antifreeze. This mix does more than just keep things cool. It raises the boiling point and lowers the freezing point and contains rust inhibitors and lubricants that protect vital parts like your water pump and radiator. When you top off with plain water, you start diluting this chemical balance. And that throws everything off. The coolant loses its ability to handle extreme temperatures, which is dangerous for diesel engines that naturally run hotter under heavy load. Worse, straight water can corrode the inside of your engine block, especially the iron and aluminum components. That rust buildup, it clogs up coolant passages and makes your engine overheat even faster. So next time you're low on coolant, don't grab the garden hose. Instead, to avoid damaging your diesel engine, make it a habit to check your coolant regularly, especially with a hydrometer. This handy tool tells you if the glycol mix in your coolant is still doing its job. Remember, glycol isn't just there to prevent freezing, it's what gives the coolant its superpower to handle heat. And diesel engines generate a lot of heat. One spot that really needs proper cooling? The EGR cooler. This part gets hotter than your radiator and sits higher up in the engine bay. That means it's one of the first places to suffer when coolant is low. If it runs dry or gets weak coolant, you risk cracking the EGR cooler and creating even bigger problems like coolant loss or engine overheating. So here's your move. Always make sure your coolant is topped up to the maximum line and that the glycol mix is strong and fresh. A good quality mix keeps everything from your radiator to your EGR cooler running smoothly and safely, even on the hottest days or during heavy towing. Mistake number 2, avoid blowing out your air filter to clean it. Think tapping or blowing out your diesel air filter is saving you money. Think again, it could be costing you your engine. A lot of drivers try to clean their dirty air filters by banging them on the ground or blasting them with an air compressor. It might look like the dust is gone, but what you don't see is the real damage happening inside. When you hit or blast the filter, you can actually tear or stretch the microscopic fibers that are supposed to trap dirt. These tiny holes may not be visible to the eye, but they're big enough to let fine dust and debris sneak into your engine, and diesel engines hate dirt. Even small amounts of dust can cause wear on your pistons, cylinders, and turbocharger. It's like sanding down your engine from the inside every time you drive. Instead of trying to refresh an old air filter the wrong way, just replace or clean it the right way. Here's how you can do it smartly. Always replace your air filter on time, or if it's a reusable one, clean it using the method recommended by the manufacturer only. Why does it matter so much? Because a diesel engine depends on clean, filtered air to run efficiently. When you damage the filter by banging or blasting it, you risk opening up tiny holes in the filter media. That allows fine dust particles to slip through straight into your engine. Once inside, that dirt acts like sandpaper, slowly grinding away at the engine's cylinders, pistons, rings, and especially your turbocharger. The vanes in the turbo are super delicate and spin at crazy high speeds, sometimes over 100,000 RPM. Just a little dirt in the system can wear out those vanes fast, leading to reduced performance or total turbo failure. So don't gamble with your engine. Keep a spare air filter on hand and replace it when needed. It's a small investment that protects some of the most expensive and sensitive parts of your diesel engine. Mistake number 3, don't mess with the DPF or DEF system. Your diesel's emission system is tough, but it's not bulletproof, and a few careless habits can ruin parts that cost thousands to fix. First up, don't panic about the heat coming off your diesel particulate filter, DPF. During regeneration, it can get extremely hot, but that's totally normal. The DPF is built to handle it. Trying to cool it down early or shut the engine off mid-regeneration can stop the process and cause a dangerous clog. Next, let's talk about diesel exhaust fluid, DEF. This isn't just some fancy additive, it's a key part of your emission system, but it has a shelf life. Don't use expired DEF or any fluid that's been sitting for over a year, especially if it's been exposed to extreme heat or cold. Old DEF can break down and crystallize, causing major damage to your selective catalytic reduction (SCR) system. And here's a big one: never pour anything other than proper DEF into the DEF tank. No oil, no water, no fuel, no, just a little bit of this to get by. One mistake here can lead to sensors failing, injectors clogging, or the whole system needing replacement, and that's not cheap. So to keep your diesel emissions system healthy, it's not just about using DEF, it's about storing and handling it the right way. Diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, is 60% water, which means it's sensitive to heat and sunlight. If you store DEF in direct sunlight or in temperatures above 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius, the water can start to evaporate. What's left behind? Concentrated urea that can form hard crystals. Those crystals clog up the system, especially the DEF injectors, leading to error codes, poor performance, or even a complete shutdown. So always store DEF in a cool, shaded spot away from extreme temperatures and direct light. If it's been exposed to heat or has changed color or smell, toss it. It's not worth the risk. Also, don't ignore the DEF filter. This tiny part plays a big role. It catches urea crystals and regular dirt before they can reach sensitive parts like the injectors. If the filter gets dirty or clogged, it can't protect the system, and the injectors may get damaged. Check your DEF filter regularly and replace it as part of your normal maintenance routine. Clean fluid and a clean filter are your best defense against expensive DEF system repairs and help your truck stay emissions compliant and road ready. If you're finding this video helpful, consider watching this one where we have shared 10 additives that will make your car last twice as long. Mistake number 4. Don't run your diesel engine with open panels. Leaving access panels or cabinet doors open while your diesel engine is running might seem harmless, especially if you're just checking something quickly or letting some heat out, but doing this can actually cause more harm than good. Here's why. Your engine is designed to breathe and cool itself properly based on a specific airflow pattern. That pattern depends on all panels, doors, and enclosures being shut tight. When you leave a panel open, it messes up the airflow. Instead of moving through the radiator and vents the way it's supposed to, the hot air can get trapped around the engine, or worse, cool air might not reach it at all. Even more concerning, open panels act like an invitation for dust, dirt, debris, and even moisture to sneak into the engine bay. These contaminants can find their way into sensitive parts like the air intake, sensors, electrical components, and filters. Over time, this buildup can clog the system, reduce performance, and cause early wear on your engine. So even if you're in a hurry, make sure it's getting proper airflow at all times, especially if it's inside an enclosure or cabinet. Start by checking the air inlets around the engine or machine housing. These vents are what allow cool air to reach the radiator and cooling system. If they're blocked by dust, leaves, grease, or grime, the engine can't cool itself properly. For stationary equipment like generator sets, this becomes even more critical. Without clean airflow, these engines overheat fast, sometimes within minutes. So clean those vents regularly. Make it part of your maintenance checklist. And never assume the engine is cooling just because it's running. Keep an eye on your temperature gauges. If the engine starts running hotter than usual or a temperature warning alarm goes off, don't ignore it. React quickly but safely. Shut the engine down if needed, check for blockages, and give the system time to cool off before restarting. These small steps keep your engine from getting heat soaked and extend its life, especially in demanding work environments. Clean airflow in, hot air out. That's the golden rule for keeping your diesel cool and reliable. Mistake number 5. Pour cold fuel into a hot diesel tank. It might not seem like a big deal, but adding cold diesel fuel into a hot fuel tank, especially right after a long drive, can quietly cause some serious problems inside your fuel system. Here's what happens. When you fill a hot tank with cold fuel, it creates a rapid temperature drop inside the tank. That sudden change causes moisture from the surrounding air to condense, just like how water forms on a cold soda can. And guess where that moisture ends up? Right in your fuel. Even tiny amounts of water and diesel fuel can cause corrosion inside the fuel lines, damage to fuel injectors, and microbial growth, also known as diesel algae. Water also reduces fuel quality and can make cold starts harder, especially in winter. So to protect your diesel engine from water-related damage, you need to be smart about how you store, handle, and filter your fuel. First, if you're using stored diesel fuel, let it sit undisturbed for a while. This gives any water or dirt particles a chance to settle at the bottom of the tank. Once settled, you can safely drain off the bad stuff before it makes its way into your engine. And don't forget, regularly drain your fuel storage tanks. Even a little water buildup over time can lead to serious problems like rust, clogged filters, and injector damage. Next up, your fuel water separator is your first line of defense against contamination. Make it a habit to drain it daily, especially if you're operating in humid or wet conditions. Water and diesel fuel doesn't just reduce power, it can wreck your injectors, corrode fuel system parts, and lead to costly repairs. Finally, check your fuel tank seals often. Cracked or loose seals let in dirt, dust, and even rainwater. If those contaminants slip into your tank, your filter will have to work overtime, and if it fails, your injectors could be next. Bonus tip: don't shut down your diesel engine without a proper cool down. Turning off your diesel engine right after a hard drive might save you a few minutes, but it can silently destroy some of the most expensive parts under the hood. Here's the deal: your engine needs time to cool down properly, especially after heavy use like towing, hauling, or highway driving. When you shut it off immediately, you stop the flow of engine oil and coolant right when the engine and turbo are at their hottest. That's bad news for your turbocharger bearings. These spin at insanely high speeds and rely on engine oil to cool and lubricate them. If you shut off the engine while they're still hot, the oil flow stops, and the heat can actually cook the leftover oil, creating hard carbon deposits. Over time, this buildup ruins the turbo bearings, leading to poor performance or complete turbo failure. And it's not just the turbo that suffers. DF, diesel exhaust fluid. Injectors also get extremely hot during operation. They need those few extra minutes of idle time to cool down safely. Without it, their lifespan drops dramatically and replacement isn't cheap. So what's the smarter habit? After a long or intense drive, let your diesel engine idle for 5 to 10 minutes. This gives oil and coolant enough time to circulate, cool key components, and prevent heat-soaked damage. It's like giving your engine a chance to catch its breath, something every diesel owner should do to keep things running strong for the long haul. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to watch the complete guide about changing your car fluids.